across history, scattered across burial mounds, ruined temples, and forgotten quarries, archaeologists have uncovered objects that make us stop and wonder, how could this be possible? A Viking woman buried with a ring engraved in Arabic, a fractured slab of granite that unlocked Egypt's secrets, a Pharaoh's figurine mysteriously found in Mexico, a Mayan king's tomb that some believe shows him as an astronaut, and gigantic stones in Lebanon that dwarf even modern machines. Each discovery challenges our assumptions, sparks debate, and reminds us that the past is far stranger than the simplified stories we were taught. Tonight, we'll journey through 5 extraordinary finds that blur the line between history, myth, and mystery. What happens when a Viking artifact carries the name of Allah? Could Scandinavia and the Islamic world have been more connected than we think? In 1889, archaeologists excavating the trading centre of Birka in Sweden opened the grave of a woman buried around 850 AD. Amid the beads, brooches, and ornaments typical of a Scandinavian burial, one item stood out: a silver ring, its violet-coloured stone inscribed with a short phrase in Kufish Arabic. The inscription read, "For Allah." For decades, scholars assumed the stone was amethyst, but recent microscopic analysis revealed something surprising. It was coloured glass, a material rare in Viking Age Scandinavia. The ring's silver was of exceptionally high purity, and inside the band were filing marks showing it had hardly been worn. Even more astonishing, it remains the only Viking Age ring with an Arabic inscription ever found in Scandinavia. This small ring tells a big story. Historian Søren Michael Sindbeck has argued that Viking trade worked like a small world network. A handful of hubs connected far-flung civilizations. From these hubs, luxury objects travelled astonishing distances. The pristine Birka ring may have come directly from an Arabic silversmith's hands, passed quickly to Scandinavia with little wear. Arab travellers themselves wrote of meeting Vikings, whom they called the Rus. The 10th century scholar Ahmad ibn Fadlan described them in vivid detail. Striking in appearance, tall and fair, yet the filthiest of Allah's creatures, with habits that shocked him. His record proves direct encounters between Vikings and Muslim merchants along the Volga and Caspian seas. The Birka ring is not just jewellery. It is a testimony of contact, faith, and exchange across worlds. Some debate its exact inscription, whether it means "for Allah," "to Allah," or perhaps a shortened form of Inshallah. But whatever its precise meaning, its presence in a Scandinavian grave shows that Vikings were not isolated raiders. They were participants in a vast, interconnected global network. How did one fractured slab of granite yield the key to an entire lost language? And why does it remain at the centre of a modern tug-of-war? In 1799, French soldiers repairing a fort near the Egyptian town of Rashid unearthed a broken slab of granite. It was inscribed with 3 bands of text, hieroglyphs at the top, Demotic in the middle, and Greek at the bottom. The decree honoured Ptolemy V, but the real treasure was linguistic. For the first time in centuries, scholars had a bilingual key to decode the hieroglyphs of ancient Egypt. When the British defeated the French in Egypt, they claimed the stone as spoils of war. By 1802, it was installed in the British Museum, where it remains today, carved with the words "captured in Egypt by the British Army." Its very presence is a relic of colonial competition. Decipherment was slow. The polymath Thomas Young first realised that the oval cartouches contained royal names like Ptolemy, but it was the French scholar Jean-François Champollion, fluent in Coptic, who cracked the code in 1822. By linking the Greek with the hieroglyphs, he revealed that hieroglyphs were not just symbolic pictures, but a complex system of sounds and meanings. With that breakthrough, the voices of ancient Egypt, its rituals, hymns, and history were finally heard again after 1,400 years of silence. But the Rosetta Stone is also a contested object. In recent years, Egyptian scholars and activists have demanded its return, calling its removal cultural violence. Petitions led by figures like Zahi Hawass have gathered thousands of signatures. The British Museum argues that the stone was legally transferred under treaties of the time, but the debate reveals how artifacts are not just scientific tools, they are symbols of identity, power, and memory. How did a small Egyptian funerary figurine from the time of Ramses II end up in a Mexico City apartment? A clue to global travel, or a case of modern smuggling? In 2016, a Mexican man discovered a small wooden figurine while cleaning his home. The object was given to the Egyptian embassy and sent back to Cairo for analysis. Experts confirmed it was authentic. A funerary ushabti from Egypt's 19th dynasty, more than 3,000 years old, inscribed with the name of Ra-Nes and carved to serve its master in the afterlife. How did it cross the ocean? Scholars believe it was looted and smuggled in recent times, part of the thriving black market for antiquities. Egypt has long battled the theft of its artifacts, which often end up in private collections worldwide. But the find also fueled wilder theories. Online forums claimed it proved Egyptians reached the Americas centuries before Columbus. Some even pointed to symbols in Mesoamerican art as evidence of Egyptian influence. Yet professional archaeologists strongly disagree. There is no credible evidence of ancient Egyptian voyages to the New World. The figurine story, they argue, is about looting, not long-lost travel. Still, its presence in Mexico is a cautionary tale. Smuggled objects lose their context, making it harder for scholars to interpret them. And they feed conspiracy theories that distort genuine history. Did the Maya king Pakal carve himself piloting a spaceship? Or was he describing something far more profound? In 1952, archaeologist Alberto Ruz uncovered the sealed tomb of King Pakal beneath the Temple of the Inscriptions in Palenque, Mexico. Inside lay a massive limestone sarcophagus lid covered with carvings. At its center, Pakal reclined, seemingly surrounded by flames, tubes, and controls. To some, especially after Erich von Däniken's books in the 1960s, it looked like Pakal was a space traveler at the controls of a rocket. The Maya astronaut theory became a pop culture icon, but Maya scholars offer another interpretation. The imagery matches Maya cosmology. Pakal descending into the underworld, rising along the world tree, and transforming into the maize god, a symbol of rebirth and fertility. The flames are stylized underworld symbols. The controls are sacred beads and breath scrolls. Modern bioarchaeology confirmed the skeleton was indeed Pakal, who lived into his 80s, an age matching inscriptions. His burial reflected not spaceflight, but the Maya vision of eternal renewal. The truth is more powerful than the myth. The sarcophagus is a window into how the Maya saw death not as an end, but as a cosmic transformation. How did ancient builders move stones heavier than modern airplanes without cranes, engines, or steel? In Lebanon's Bekaa Valley lies Baalbek, once a Roman sanctuary. Its podium includes 3 colossal limestone blocks known as the trilithon, each nearly 20 meters long and weighing up to 800 tons. Beneath them, even larger blocks rest in place. And in the nearby quarry lie unfinished giants, one weighing over 1,200 tons, and the Forgotten Stone, at nearly 1,500 tons, the heaviest stone ever quarried. How were they moved? Some claim aliens or lost technology, but engineers point to Roman ingenuity. Using capstans, rollers, lubricated ramps, and sheer manpower, Romans transported obelisks weighing hundreds of tons across the empire. Baalbek's quarry sat uphill from the temple site, meaning workers could roll stones downhill along ramps rather than lift them. The stones may have been dragged into position before final walls were built. Studies suggest teams of hundreds could shift them meters at a time. Though the effort was enormous, it was not impossible. Local legends tell of giants, jinn, or a pregnant woman who tricked villagers into helping her move the stones. These stories add colour, but archaeology shows a more grounded truth. Baalbek was the ultimate display of Roman ambition, blending overwhelming scale with architectural precision. 5 artifacts, 5 mysteries. A Viking ring that whispered Allah's name across continents. A granite slab that resurrected Egypt's forgotten words. A Pharaoh's figurine in Mexico that reminds us how looting distorts history. A sarcophagus lid that reveals Maya rebirth, not astronauts. And megaliths in Lebanon that show human determination is stronger than stone. The more we uncover, the clearer it becomes. History is not a straight line of progress. It's a tapestry woven of trade, myth, power, and belief. And every new discovery reminds us that ancient people were not primitive. They were ingenious, connected, and endlessly creative.